Well, look who's back. I'm Alex of Tech. Welcome to Tech. We're back. And today we are taking a look at the Blackberry Key 2 LE after so many months of a delay. And let's debut that brand new intro right now. Let's get back to work. Alright, so the Blackberry Key 2 LE is a physical keyboard, QWERTY keyboard phone, which Blackberry makes, of course. Blackberry kind of has a stranglehold on this field. We're seeing some new introductions from other companies in 2019. MWC had some pretty cool stuff. But this particular phone, you can look at it in one of two ways. One, it is a mid-range Android phone that is kind of overpriced. Or two, you can look at it as a mid-range Android phone with a keyboard that's significantly stripped down from its counterpart. So let's look at it in both of these aspects and see who this phone is made for, or whether you even want this phone if you want a keyboard. All right, we'll start off with the mid-range Android phone take on this. So if you want to look at it just as an Android phone that's kind of different, because the Android space is where you can find some unique phones. You can't get that with iOS. They only have a couple models. Android is where creativity excels. And this particular phone is unique in many ways. The first way is the display. Look at the display. It's a 3:2 aspect ratio displays. We're looking at phones now with 18:9, 19:9, even 21:9. Sony is coming out with Xperia with a 21:9 cinematic display. This is a 3:2. It's more of a square than a long rectangle. And you really don't see that in smartphones. You might see that more on tablets and also laptops, which I personally really like that aspect ratio, but it's kind of weird to see that on a phone. And the reason you have this, of course, is because the keyboard is beneath it. So you have this kind of boxy, squarish aspect ratio, which is unique, and this 4.5 inch screen. It's a 1080p screen. So the screen quality is actually pretty good. One thing about the display I liked about the Key 2 LE is the viewing angles and also the sharpness of the colors. I really like the colors on here. It's an IPS display, and on 4.5 inches in this weird form factor, I had some reservations about it, but after using it, I viewing stuff on this was secondary. It's natural. It felt normal. The only weird thing is holding it. When you're holding it, you expect the entire image to go from finger to finger, right? When you're holding a smartphone now, especially with the bezels so small on modern smartphones, you feel like you're expecting the video to go from one end to the other end. But instead, it starts here and it goes maybe like 60, 70% of the way. And then you get like the keyboard, the black. So it's kind of jarring at first when you're watching video. Your eyes kind of shift to the left instead of in the center of the image. Whereas on modern smartphones, when you're holding the entire smartphone, your viewing goes straight into the center because the whole plane is viewable. So that gets a little used. You have to take a little bit of time to get used to that with the keyboard. And as far as hardware goes, we're looking at a Snapdragon 636 and 4 gigabytes of RAM. Nothing to write home about, especially when you're looking at the Key 2. The Key 2 is significantly more expensive than this particular phone. However, even then, the Key 2 isn't that powerful. It's not using that much more of a powerful chip, but you could significantly see lagging and other things happening on this particular chipset, more so than even other devices that I've used the Snapdragon 636 chip. I feel like part of that is because of the Blackberry software. Blackberry software has a lot of protection on it. Blackberry is trying to make a niche following for its safety reasons. You know, it's always about enterprises with Blackberry. It's always about security and that frame of mind to be secure. And Blackberry does a good job of that. However, I do have a feeling that some of the things that they put onto their launcher or their OS and how the workflow works on these phones kind of slows down the performance of these chips instead of utilizing it as effectively as it can. So I have noticed lagging on certain things that I thought the Snapdragon 630 series chips should be able to do better, at least from what I've seen on Redmi's and stuff like that. But on the Blackberry, it struggled a little bit there. And now to our second talking point about how to analyze what this phone actually is. The Blackberry Key 2 LE is essentially a stripped down version of the Key 2. The Key 2 itself is not a very powerful phone. It's their flagship phone for BlackBerry, but it doesn't mean it's an actual flagship spec phone. And you run a Snapdragon 660, which is by no means a powerful chipset. It's still a very mid-range chipset, but it's still more powerful than this particular chipset in this phone. So by already not having a very powerful chipset in the original phone and lowering it even more, that doesn't bode well already for this particular phone. And then when you strip down other key aspects of being a BlackBerry, one of those things is the touchpad. Using the touchpad to navigate, to scroll through articles, to scroll through emails, and to actually precision locate words when you're typing a document or email. It's a lifesaver, game changer. I can't believe they got rid of that. I understand they were trying to do that for a price point, but there's certain things they could have done to lower the price point. This is a BlackBerry after all, and BlackBerry is known for their keyboards. They have to keep that full keyboard experience intact. You could have, in my opinion, lowered the battery a little bit. It's a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, but the battery life on this is terrific. I get really good life on this, so maybe lower that to like a 2,700 milliamp hour. I don't know. Or dual cameras, right? They have dual cameras on here. Honestly, you don't need dual cameras. The camera on here is not that great in the first place. It's average, it's usable, but when you're buying a BlackBerry, the people who are interested in this are not buying this for a smartphone experience. You'll be using the Pixel 3, honestly, or a Samsung Galaxy S9 or 10, or an iPhone 10s. You wouldn't be looking at this phone if you're strictly buying this for a good camera experience. You want just an average camera experience. The camera experience on this is average already anyway, so you might as well strip that down, use that single camera, and save the resources to use what you're known for, which is to keep that keyboard fully intact. As far as the typing experience goes on this physical keyboard, I feel like keys are a little too tight, too compact together. And I mentioned this in the unboxing video and a couple times on Instagram TV. If you aren't following us on Instagram TV, we post a lot of exclusive content there, a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of like raw content where I'm just talking about stuff, like raw feelings when I open something. And I mentioned this about the Blackberry Key 2 LE. The keyboard is tighter. The keys are not as spaced out or not as laid out spaciously as they should have. And I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to compact it more to fit into this layout. Whereas something like the Priv, which was the last BlackBerry I tested out, the Priv had a very spacious layout, and I typed much faster on the Priv. For the sake of testing out this phone, I actually pulled out the Priv and I started typing on it. And I was more accurate on that, even to this day, than I am on this Blackberry Key 2 LE. Other things that I did like, however, about this keyboard is the fingerprint scanner embedded in the spacebar. That's a very nice place to put it. It feels like a home button in old iPhones or Samsungs, and it's the right place to put it. And it's very accurate. I haven't had trouble with this particular fingerprint scanner. As far as the camera goes, I already touched base on it a little bit. It's average. It's not that important on this particular camera. You're not buying a BlackBerry for its camera. It has two cameras, one for depth and it's the main sensor there. And honestly, I felt like we could do away with one of them, like I said before. The results here are average. You're just buying this for average use. You're not really using this to take Instagram photos. You're not using it to take food photos for Yelp. You're not doing stuff you would do on the Pixel 3 on here. You're using this as a business-oriented phone for references here, to take a photo of a document there. So honestly, the camera is good enough for what it needs to do for business enterprises, but it's definitely not one of the best cameras on the market, and you're not expecting that when you're buying a BlackBerry. And those are my thoughts on the Blackberry Key 2 LE. I do think you should avoid this phone, especially with the Key 2 out there and the price drop on the Key 2. You do need that performance bump from this particular phone. And as far as BlackBerry keyboards go, I don't think this is one of the better ones out there. Like BlackBerry Priv had a better layout, and missing the actual trackpad, I still think is a drastic loss in the BlackBerry performance. And as far as BlackBerry software goes, if you're buying this for the security aspect of the BlackBerries, BlackBerry puts their software, their email clients, all that stuff on the Google Play Store now. So you can actually download that for any Android phone. So I feel like that aspect of a BlackBerry is no longer proprietary to BlackBerry phones. So you don't really need to go out and buy a BlackBerry to get the BlackBerry experience. You just get the BlackBerry experience in the keyboard. So once again, I'm Alex Tech. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Let me know what you guys think of this BlackBerry Key 2 LE and what you think of physical keyboards in general. Are you totally over it? Have you completely moved on? Or are you still kind of nostalgic for that occasionally? Once again, I'm Alex Tech. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button on the bottom so that you can get future alerts for when our videos come out. And be sure to comment, like, and all that good stuff.